Tonight, we'll hear the gentle tale of Milo, a curious little kitten who gets lost while chasing fireflies. Alone in the big world, Milo begins a magical journey through whispering forests, sparkling rivers, and starlit skies. Along the way, he meets kind friends who help him, and he learns that love and courage can guide even the smallest heart back home. So snuggle in, close your eyes, and let's follow Milo on his heartwarming adventure all the way to where dreams begin. On the edge of a quiet little village, where the fields stretched out like a soft golden blanket, there lived a small kitten named Milo. Milo's fur was the color of cream, with tiny patches of orange, like the first rays of dawn brushing the morning sky. His eyes were wide and curious, as if the whole world was waiting just for him to explore. Milo lived with his mother in a cozy cottage near the fields. The cottage smelled faintly of lavender and fresh hay, and every evening Milo would curl up close to his mother, listening to her gentle purr until he drifted into dreams. Life was simple, safe, and filled with love. But one sunny morning, something changed. The sun rose warm and bright, spilling golden light across the meadow. Bees buzzed softly, and butterflies danced lazily in the air. Milo was playing in the garden, pouncing on shadows and chasing the tiny white petals that the wind carried past. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he saw it, a butterfly. Not just any butterfly. This butterfly had wings as blue as the summer sky, edged with silver that glittered in the sunlight. It flitted and twirled just above Milo's head, teasing him with its shimmering wings. Milo's little tail flicked with excitement. His paws twitched, his whiskers quivered. He couldn't resist. With a playful leap, Milo bounded after the butterfly. It darted through the tall grass, and Milo followed, his tiny paws barely making a sound as they pressed into the earth. He giggled in that kittenish way, soft mews spilling from his mouth as the butterfly soared higher, then dipped lower, as though inviting him to chase more. Through the garden they went, past the patch of daisies that leaned gently in the breeze. Milo pounced and missed, pounced again and missed, each time laughing at his own clumsy hops. The butterfly seemed to be waiting for him, never flying too far, always just within reach. Then it fluttered over the wooden fence. Milo paused. He had never gone beyond the fence alone before. On the other side lay the open fields, wide, endless, and unfamiliar. His mother often told him, "Stay close, little one. The world is big, and you are still small." But the butterfly's wings glistened so beautifully in the sunlight. They sparkled like pieces of the sky that had come down to play with him. Milo tilted his head, his heart tugging him forward. Just one more leap, he thought. Just one more chase, and then I'll come back. So he wriggled through a small gap in the fence and bounded into the tall grass. The field was alive with sound and color. Grasshoppers chirped, birds called from above, and the wind whispered secrets through the wheat. Milo's paws tickled against the blades of grass as he bounded after the butterfly. The world seemed so much bigger out here, stretching in every direction like a sea of green and gold. He chased and chased, his laughter filling the air. The butterfly dipped low, then soared high, weaving in and out of the flowers that dotted the field. Milo felt as though they were dancing together, partners in a playful game. But the more he chased, the farther he went. The cottage with the lavender-scented roof grew smaller and smaller behind him, until it was hidden by the tall grass. The familiar scent of his mother's fur faded, replaced by the earthy smell of soil and the wild perfume of flowers. Still, Milo didn't notice. His eyes were fixed on the butterfly, and his heart was full of joy. Finally, after one last leap, the butterfly rose higher than Milo could reach. It soared into the sky, twirling in the sunlight, and then drifted away on the breeze, vanishing into the endless blue. Milo sat back on his haunches, his chest heaving from the chase. His little pink tongue peeked out as he panted. For a moment, he simply stared at the empty sky, waiting for the butterfly to return, but it did not. Silence settled around him. Milo blinked. He looked left, then right. The field stretched in every direction, vast and unfamiliar. He turned, expecting to see the fence and the cozy cottage behind him, but all he saw was more tall grass swaying in the wind. His heart fluttered. "Mother?" he called softly. His voice was small, almost swallowed by the rustle of the field. No answer came. A breeze brushed through the grass, cool against his fur. Milo's ears twitched nervously. The once exciting field now seemed enormous, almost too big for such a small kitten. He took a few uncertain steps, his paws sinking into the soft earth. Every sound seemed louder now. The chirp of the crickets, the caw of a distant crow, the rustle of unseen creatures moving through the grass. Milo's tail curled around his body for comfort. He missed the warmth of his mother's fur. He missed the safety of her purr. Milo realized then he was lost. A tiny whimper escaped his mouth, but he quickly lifted his chin. He was a brave kitten, he reminded himself. He couldn't just sit here. He had to find his way home. Taking a deep breath, Milo stepped forward. The grass brushed against his whiskers, tall and gentle, almost like guiding hands. He didn't know which way to go, but he hoped that if he kept moving, he might find someone or something that could help. As the sun began to tilt in the sky, painting the world with softer shades of gold, Milo walked deeper into the field. His little paws carried him forward, one step at a time. Though his heart trembled with fear, there was also a flicker of courage inside him, small but steady. And so began Milo's journey, the adventure of a little kitten, lost but determined, searching for the way back to his mother.
The field stretched endlessly around Milo, tall stalks of grass whispering secrets as the breeze drifted by. The sun had climbed higher into the sky now, painting everything with a warm golden glow. Milo's little paws pressed softly into the earth as he walked, each step careful and uncertain. He kept glancing over his shoulder, hoping to catch a glimpse of the lavender-topped cottage or hear his mother's familiar call. But behind him was only more grass, rippling like waves across a green sea. His ears lowered, and for a moment his courage wavered. Still, he remembered his mother's words. "Be brave, little one. The world may be big, but your heart is bigger." So Milo took a deep breath and continued forward. Soon the tall grass gave way to something new. He found himself stepping into a small, hidden garden tucked between the fields. It was a place filled with wildflowers, bright daisies, purple violets, and tall sunflowers that reached toward the sky. The air smelled sweet, like honey and clover, and the gentle hum of bees filled the air. Milo blinked in wonder. He had never seen so many flowers gathered in one place before. The colors shimmered in the sunlight, and the petals swayed as if they were waving to him. For a moment, The fear inside him softened, replaced with curiosity. As he padded further into the garden, a tiny red shape scuttled across a leaf nearby. Milo tilted his head and crept closer. It was a ladybug, its shell dotted with perfect black spots. "Hello there," Milo mewed softly, trying not to scare it. The ladybug paused, then fluttered her wings, landing on a daisy close to his nose. Her voice was small but kind, like the tinkling of a bell. "Hello, little kitten. What brings you to this garden?" Milo's whiskers twitched as he sighed. "I was chasing a butterfly, and now I can't find my way home. Have you seen a small cottage with lavender on the roof?" The ladybug tilted her head thoughtfully. The world is very big for someone as small as you. But don't worry, every journey begins with one step. Perhaps if you follow the path through the flowers, you may find something or someone who can guide you." Milo's ears perked up. "A path?" The ladybug gestured with her tiny wing. Indeed, if Milo looked closely, there was a faint trail winding through the flowers. The grass was pressed down as though other creatures had walked there before. "Thank you," Milo whispered. The ladybug dipped her head kindly. "Be safe, little one, and remember, the world may seem scary, but it is also full of friends you haven't met yet." With that, she fluttered away, disappearing into the sky. Milo took her advice and followed the path. As he padded along, the garden grew even more enchanting. Butterflies with orange and black wings danced above him. Bees buzzed lazily from flower to flower, gathering nectar. A dragonfly skimmed the surface of a small pond that shimmered under the sunlight. The sounds of nature surrounded him, gentle, calming, almost like a lullaby. Despite being lost, Milo felt a little safer knowing that this garden was alive with kind creatures. As he walked further, he noticed movement among the stalks of wheatgrass that bordered the garden. Out peeked a tiny mouse, his whiskers twitching nervously. Milo froze. Back at the cottage, his mother often chased mice, but only to keep them away from the food. Milo himself had never spoken to one before. The mouse's eyes widened when he saw Milo. "Oh! A cat!" he squeaked, ready to dart back into his hole. "Wait," Milo mewed quickly. "Please don't be afraid. I'm not here to chase you. I'm just lost." The mouse paused, blinking. "Lost?" "Yes," Milo said softly. "I was chasing a butterfly and I wandered too far from home. Now I don't know which way to go. Do you know how to find a cottage with lavender on the roof?" The mouse's nose twitched thoughtfully. I've seen a cottage like that before, far across the fields. But between here and there lies the wide meadow and the river. For such a small kitten, that is a long way to travel." Milo's tail drooped. "The river?" he repeated. "Yes," said the mouse. "The river runs through the land like a silver ribbon. If you can reach it and follow its flow, you may find the village beyond. Perhaps your home is there." Milo's heart lifted with hope. "Thank you. That's exactly what I needed to know." The mouse gave a tiny smile. "Be careful though, the meadow is open and many creatures live there. Some are kind, some are not.
But if you walk bravely and kindly, you will find help along the way." Milo nodded solemnly. "I'll remember that." The mouse scurried back into the grass, leaving Milo once more alone. He padded on, following the winding path until it opened again into the tall fields. The sun had begun its slow descent, softening into the golden light of afternoon. Shadows stretched long, and the sky above deepened into a gentler blue. Milo paused at the edge of the garden and looked back once last time. The flowers swayed gently as if waving farewell. He felt a pang of sadness leaving such a safe, beautiful place, but also a spark of courage. He had a direction now. He would find the river, and maybe, just maybe, it would lead him back to his mother. Taking a deep breath, Milo stepped forward into the meadow. The grasses whispered softly around him, like 1,000 voices encouraging him on his journey. And though his paws were small, his heart was full of determination. The meadow stretched wide and open, a golden sea swaying gently under the touch of the wind. Milo padded carefully through the tall stalks, his little paws sinking into the soft soil. The air was warm, carrying with it the earthy scent of wildflowers and grass. For a long while, Milo walked in silence. He thought of the mouse's words, "Find the river and follow its flow. It may lead you home." The idea gave him hope, though his heart still fluttered with nervousness. The sun dipped lower, and the light softened into amber. Shadows grew long, painting gentle patterns across the meadow. Birds soared overhead, calling out to one another as they flew back to their nests. Somewhere far away, the faint croak of frogs echoed, as though calling Milo closer. He followed the sound. Step by step, his paws carried him toward the deepening melody of water and night. Soon the grass parted, and Milo's eyes widened in wonder. Before him stretched a wide, glimmering river. Its surface rippled under the fading light, reflecting the first hints of the moon rising above. The water shimmered like liquid silver, flowing slowly, peacefully, as though humming a lullaby to the world. Milo's ears perked. He padded closer, listening. The gentle rush of the current filled his heart with calm. For the first time since leaving home, he didn't feel afraid. The river's song seemed to promise safety, as if saying, "Don't worry, little one, you are not alone." He sat at the riverbank, gazing at his reflection in the water. His little face stared back at him, eyes wide and glistening. For a moment, he pretended his mother was beside him, her reflection shimmering too. He closed his eyes, imagining her warm fur and soothing purr. When he opened them again, the moon had risen higher, casting silver light across the world. The river sparkled under the glow, and Milo felt as though the moon itself was watching over him. A sudden splash startled him. Milo leapt back, his fur bristling. From the water popped a little fish, its scales glimmering like jewels. It wriggled playfully, flicking droplets into the air. The fish's voice was light and cheerful. "Hello, little kitten. What brings you to the river so late?" Milo's whiskers twitched nervously.
I'm lost. I was chasing a butterfly, and now I can't find my way home. The mouse told me to follow the river. Do you think it will lead me back to my mother?" The fish swam in a slow circle, its fins shimmering. "The river flows far, little one. It touches many villages and fields. If you follow it, you may indeed find the place you're searching for. But rivers are long and winding. It may take time." Milo's tail drooped slightly. "Time?" he whispered. "I miss her already." The fish's eyes softened. "The world can seem big when you are small, but remember, every step you take brings you closer to where you belong. And the river is kind. It will guide you if you listen." Milo tilted his head. "Listen?" "Yes," said the fish. "Close your eyes, breathe slowly, hear the river's song. It will calm your heart." Milo obeyed. He closed his eyes and listened. The water gurgled softly, lapping against the stones. The current hummed, steady and endless, like a gentle purr. The sound wrapped around him, easing his fears, filling him with warmth. When he opened his eyes again, the fish had splashed back beneath the water, leaving ripples that glistened in the moonlight. Milo smiled softly. For the first time, he felt less lonely. As the night deepened, Milo curled up by the riverbank. Fireflies danced above him, tiny lanterns glowing against the darkening sky. Crickets sang their nighttime chorus, and the breeze whispered through the reeds. The whole world seemed to be singing him to sleep. But before he drifted off, he heard a new sound. "Hoo! Hoo!" His ears perked, and he looked up. Perched high in a tree beside the river was a great owl, its feathers soft and brown, its eyes large and golden like the moon itself. The owl tilted his head, gazing kindly down at Milo. "Good evening, little traveler," the owl hooted in a voice deep and calm. "The night is long for someone so small. Why are you alone by the river?" Milo lifted his chin bravely. I'm trying to find my way home. I miss my mother. The fish said the river could guide me." The owl blinked slowly, as though considering. "The fish is right. The river leads far, and it touches many places. But even more helpful is the sky above. Do you see the stars?" Milo looked up. The sky was now blanketed with thousands of twinkling lights, each one shimmering softly against the dark. "The stars can guide you," the owl said. "Look there, at the brightest one. That is the North Star. If you follow its light, it will keep you steady. It will not vanish, no matter how dark the night becomes." Milo's eyes widened with wonder. "The North Star," he whispered. "Yes," the owl said gently. "The world may be wide, but the stars are old and faithful. They will never let you lose your way." The kitten's heart filled with new hope. He gazed at the glowing star shining steadily above and felt a warmth in his chest. "Thank you," Milo whispered up to the owl. "Rest now, little one," the owl said kindly. "Your journey is long, but you are braver than you know." With that, The owl spread its wide wings and took flight, gliding silently into the night. Milo curled himself tightly on the soft grass by the riverbank. The moonlight wrapped him in silver. The stars twinkled overhead, and the river sang him a lullaby. Slowly his eyes grew heavy, and he drifted into gentle dreams, dreams of his mother's embrace, of lavender-scented fur, of home. And though the world was wide, Milo was no longer afraid. The river, the stars, and the moon would watch over him tonight.
The dawn crept slowly across the horizon, painting the sky with soft shades of pink and gold. Milo stirred from his sleep by the riverbank, stretching his tiny paws and blinking at the first light of morning. The river murmured quietly beside him, as though wishing him a gentle good morning. Milo yawned, shaking the dew from his whiskers. He thought of his mother, and though his chest ached with longing, he also felt a flicker of courage. He had survived a whole night alone. He had listened to the river, watched the stars, and felt the moon's gentle gaze. Perhaps he truly could find his way home. The owl's words echoed in his mind. "Follow the stars, little one, they will not vanish." So, after lapping up a sip of cool water from the river, Milo padded onward. The path soon curved away from the water and toward a darker shape in the distance. At first, it looked like a great shadow, but as Milo drew nearer, he realized it was a forest. The trees stood tall and silent, their branches reaching like arms into the sky. The edges of the forest were draped in morning mist, and the air smelled of pine, damp earth, and moss. Milo hesitated. The forest looked both beautiful and mysterious, but also vast and a little frightening. His ears twitched as the wind sighed through the leaves, creating a soft whispering sound. It almost seemed as if the forest itself was speaking. Still, Milo remembered what the mouse had told him. The meadow led to the river, and the river led to new paths. Perhaps this forest was part of the way. Gathering his courage, he stepped inside. The moment he entered, the air grew cooler. Shafts of sunlight pierced the canopy in golden beams, painting the mossy ground in dappled patterns. The forest was alive with sound, the creak of branches swaying, the chirp of unseen birds, the rustle of small creatures in the underbrush. Milo walked slowly, his paws padding softly against the earth. Though he was nervous, the forest also felt strangely comforting, like a giant cradle. The whispers of the leaves reminded him of his mother's purr, soothing and steady. As he ventured deeper, he came across a fallen log, blanketed in moss. Curious, he climbed on top of it, balancing carefully on his tiny paws. From this perch, he could see deeper into the forest. The trees stretched endlessly, their trunks like tall guardians. Whoo! Whoo! Milo's ears perked. He recognized the voice. It was the owl from the river. Sure enough, perched high on a branch was the wise owl, feathers glowing softly in the morning light. The owl gazed down at him with golden eyes. "You are brave, little one, to enter the whispering forest," the owl said gently. "I want to find my mother. Will this forest help me?" The owl tilted his head. "The forest is old and full of secrets. It can seem confusing with many winding paths, but if you listen closely, it will guide you. The trees themselves whisper the way." Milo's whiskers quivered. "The trees whisper?" "Yes," said the owl. "Close your eyes. Listen." Milo obeyed. He shut his eyes, and the sounds of the forest surrounded him. The rustle of the leaves was like a soft song, the creaking of branches like gentle voices. Amid the sounds, he thought he heard words. "This way, little one. Walk with courage. You are not alone." When Milo opened his eyes again, his heart felt calmer. "Thank you," he whispered to the owl. The owl spread his wide wings. "Remember, little traveler, not all who wander are lost. The forest will test your patience, but it will also teach you. Trust your paws and trust your heart." With a graceful swoop, the owl glided away, disappearing into the trees. Milo continued along the forest path. The air grew thicker with the scent of pine, and the shadows deepened as the canopy closed overhead. But he didn't feel as frightened now. He listened carefully, letting the whispers of the forest guide him. Along the way, he met other creatures. A squirrel chattered from a branch, warning him not to stray from the main path. A family of rabbits peeked out from their burrow, their noses twitching curiously before wishing him safe travels. Even a hedgehog waddled slowly across his path, offering a kind nod. Each creature reminded Milo that though the world was big, it was also filled with gentle friends. Eventually, Milo grew tired. His paws ached and his eyelids drooped. He found a soft patch of moss beneath a tall oak tree and curled himself into a ball. The forest cradled him in its quiet arms. The leaves above rustled softly, like lullabies sung by invisible voices. As he drifted to sleep, Milo dreamed of his mother's purr blending with the whispers of the forest. In his dream, her voice told him, "Keep going, my little one. Each step brings you closer to me." And when he awoke, the forest was glowing with the golden light of late afternoon. The path stretched onward, and Milo felt ready to continue. His journey was far from over, but his heart was braver now, filled with the wisdom of the owl and the whispers of the trees. And so, with tiny paws and a determined spirit, Milo ventured deeper into the forest, the song of the leaves guiding him ever forward.
By the time Milo padded out of the whispering forest, the sky had begun to deepen into shades of twilight. The sun had dipped below the horizon, leaving behind streaks of orange and pink that slowly melted into purple. One by one, the stars began to appear, twinkling gently in the vast expanse above. Milo paused at the forest's edge and gazed up, his eyes wide with wonder. He had seen stars before from his cozy cottage, curled safely in his mother's lap. But here, with no roof above him, the sky felt endless, like a giant blanket stitched with sparkling lights. He remembered the owl's words, "The North Star will guide you. It will not vanish." Milo searched the sky, his little head tilting this way and that. Among the twinkling stars, one shone brighter and steadier than the rest. It glowed softly, almost as if it were smiling down at him. "There you are," Milo whispered. His heart lifted. He felt as though the star was watching over him, just like his mother would. The meadow stretched ahead, bathed in silver light from the rising moon. Milo began to walk, keeping his eyes fixed on the North Star. Each step was small but steady, guided by the glowing light above. The night air was cool, brushing gently against his fur. Fireflies flickered like tiny lanterns in the grass, glowing softly before vanishing again into the dark. The chorus of crickets rose around him, a lullaby of the night. As he walked, Milo began to imagine the stars whispering to him, just like the trees in the forest had. Their twinkling seemed to form gentle voices, saying, "Don't give up, little one. Keep moving forward. Home is waiting." That thought made him smile. Even though the world was big and he was small, he didn't feel so alone anymore. After some time, Milo noticed a rustle in the grass nearby. His ears perked, and he crouched low, unsure of what might appear. From the tall stalks hopped a small white rabbit, its fur glowing in the moonlight like snow. The rabbit froze when it saw Milo. "Oh!" it exclaimed softly, "a cat!" Milo quickly shook his head. "Wait, don't be afraid. I'm not here to chase you. I'm lost, and I'm just trying to find my way home." The rabbit twitched its nose, studying him carefully. "Lost? That sounds lonely." "It is," Milo admitted, his voice quiet. "But I'm following the North Star. I think it might lead me back to my mother." The rabbit's eyes softened. "The stars are wise. I've often looked to them when I wasn't sure which way to hop. May I walk with you for a while? The night can feel less lonely when you have company." Milo's heart warmed. "I'd like that very much." So the two small creatures walked side by side, their paws and hops silent against the soft earth. Together, they followed the glow of the North Star. As they traveled, the rabbit told Milo stories about the meadow, how the flowers closed their petals at night to dream, how the fireflies carried wishes in their light, and how the stars above remembered every journey ever taken beneath them. Milo listened, his heart growing lighter. For a while, he almost forgot he was lost. The world around him seemed magical, filled with secrets meant to comfort rather than frighten. After some time, the rabbit slowed. It said, "This is where I must stop," it said gently. "My burrow is near, and my family waits for me." Milo felt a pang of sadness, but he nodded. "Thank you for walking with me. You made the night feel less lonely." The rabbit smiled. "You are braver than you think, little kitten. Keep following the star, and you will find what you seek." With a soft hop, the rabbit disappeared into the grass, leaving Milo alone once more. He lifted his gaze back to the sky. The North Star still shone brightly, steady and faithful. With renewed courage, Milo continued forward. As the hours passed, the night grew quieter. The air grew cooler, and a soft mist began to form across the meadow. Milo's paws ached from walking, and his eyelids grew heavy. But each time he felt like stopping, he looked up at the North Star and found the strength to keep going. Finally, as the first hint of dawn touched the horizon, Milo saw something that made his heart leap. Far in the distance, beyond the meadow, stood the faint outline of rooftops. A village! His breath caught. Could it be the same village near his cottage? Though his body was tired, hope surged through him. With the North Star still shining above and the memory of his new friends in his heart, Milo padded steadily toward the promise of home. The stars slowly faded as the sky brightened, but Milo knew they had done their job. They had kept him steady, lighting the path through the dark. And though the morning sun rose in their place, the North Star still lingered faintly in the sky, like a quiet promise that it would always be there, watching, guiding, until Milo found his way back to where he belonged.
As Milo padded onward, the cool mist of the meadow swirled gently around his little paws. Above him, the stars had faded, retreating quietly into the light of morning. The North Star glimmered faintly, like a whisper saying goodbye. And on the horizon, the first rays of dawn spilled golden light across the land. For the first time since he had gotten lost, Milo could see rooftops rising in the distance. A bell tower stood tall, its silhouette dark against the pink and orange of the morning sky. Chimneys puffed faint curls of smoke, carrying the comforting smell of breakfast fires. Milo's heart thumped with excitement. "That must be near my cottage," he whispered. "I'm almost home." But the closer he came, the more he realized that getting through the village might not be so simple. The cobblestone streets were busy, even at dawn. People bustled about, opening shop doors, sweeping steps, carrying baskets of bread and fruit. Dogs barked, chasing each other happily. Carts rattled over the stones as merchants prepared their stalls. To Milo, who had spent his journey in the quiet of forests,
rivers and fields, the village felt overwhelming. The sounds clattered together, loud and sharp. The scents, fresh bread, roasted beans, damp earth, and even the sharp tang of metal swirled around, making his nose twitch. He crouched low, pressing himself against the wall of a nearby house. "It's so noisy," he murmured. "How will I ever find my way through?" As he watched, a tall dog trotted past, its ears pricked and its eyes sharp. Milo's heart skipped. What if the dogs here chased him? He was only a kitten, small and tired. His tail curled close around him as he waited for the dog to vanish. When the street was clear again, Milo took a deep breath. "I've come this far," he told himself softly. "I can't stop now. My mother is waiting." Step by step, he crept along the edges of the buildings, keeping to the shadows. He moved past crates stacked high with apples, their sweet scent drifting into the air. He darted behind barrels, then under a wooden cart. At one point, he slipped into an alley where laundry hung from lines above, fluttering gently in the morning breeze. A white sheet drifted down and brushed against him. For a moment, he panicked, thinking it was a net. But then he realized it was just cloth, soft and harmless. He gave a small laugh. "I mustn't let myself be frightened by shadows." Further down the alley, Milo spotted a young girl sitting on a doorstep, holding a piece of bread in her hand. She was humming to herself, her voice sweet and gentle. When she noticed Milo peeking out, her eyes widened in surprise. "Oh, a kitten," she whispered. Milo froze, unsure whether to run or stay. But the girl didn't shout or chase him. Instead, she tore a little piece of bread and set it on the ground. "Are you hungry, little one?" she asked kindly. Milo's stomach growled. He hadn't eaten since the forest. Slowly, carefully, he stepped forward and nibbled at the bread. It was soft and warm, and though it wasn't fish or milk like he loved at home, it filled his belly just enough to give him strength. The girl smiled. "You're very brave to wander here alone. Do you have a home, kitty?" Milo blinked his big eyes at her. If only he could explain. Instead, he gave a small mew, soft and longing. The girl tilted her head. You look like you belong to someone. Maybe you're trying to get back." She pointed toward the far edge of the village. "Beyond those streets, there are cottages near the hills. Maybe your family is there." Milo's heart leapt. That was it. His cottage stood at the edge of the hills, where the garden bloomed with daisies and lavender. With renewed determination, he gave the girl a grateful look and padded on. The streets grew busier as the sun rose higher. Children chased hoops, dogs wagged their tails, and merchants called out their goods. Milo weaved carefully between feet and hooves, always keeping to the shadows. Then, suddenly, he found himself in the middle of a square. The bell tower loomed above, its chimes ringing out the hour. The sound was so loud, it made Milo flatten his ears. Startled, he darted forward, only to nearly collide with a cart rolling past.
He sprang aside just in time, his little heart pounding. "Steady, Milo," he whispered to himself. "You're almost there. Just a little more." He hurried toward the quieter streets at the edge of the village. The houses grew smaller, with gardens blooming beside them. The scent of lavender drifted in the air, so familiar it made Milo's chest ache. At last, he reached a small lane leading out toward the hills. The cobblestones gave way to dirt paths. Birds sang from the hedges, and there, in the distance, Milo saw it, his cottage. The sight nearly brought tears to his eyes. The wooden fence, the climbing roses along the wall, the little window with lace curtains. It was all there. Home. His paws quickened, though his body was weary. Every step felt like both a burden and a blessing. He had made it through the forest, the river, the meadow, and the village. Now, only a short stretch of path separated him from his mother. The morning sun lit the way, golden and warm. And Milo, though small and tired, walked with the courage of all the friends and guides he had met along his journey. He whispered softly to himself, almost as if speaking to the stars that had guided him through the night. "I'm coming home, Mama. I'm almost there."
The dirt path stretched before Milo, winding gently up the hill toward the little cottage he knew so well. His paws, though sore and weary, carried him forward with surprising strength. Every step felt lighter than the last, as though his heart was lifting his body, urging him onward. The morning sun shone brightly now, gilding the tops of the flowers that grew along the fence line. Bees buzzed lazily from bloom to bloom. A gentle breeze carried the scent of lavender and daisies, the very flowers his mother loved to rest beside. Milo paused at the gate. His whiskers twitched and his ears perked high. He could hear faint sounds inside the garden, the rustle of leaves, the chirping of sparrows, and then, most clearly of all, a soft, familiar purr. "Mama?" Milo whispered, his voice trembling with hope. The gate creaked as he pushed through, and there she was, his mother, sleek and beautiful, her fur glowing golden in the morning light, sat by the flower bed. Her green eyes lifted, and for a moment she froze. Then, with a joyous meow, she bounded forward. "Milo!" Her voice, though made of nothing more than a cat's call, carried warmth and love so deep that Milo's little heart swelled. He ran to her, stumbling with tired paws, and buried his face into her soft fur. Her scent was the sweetest comfort, familiar and safe, wrapping around him like a blanket. "Oh, Mama," Milo mewed, his little voice muffled, "I thought I would never find you again." Her mother licked the top of his head gently over and over, her tongue warm and soothing. "You're home now, my little one," she purred. "You're safe. I've been searching, calling for you, waiting through the night, and now here you are." Milo pressed close, his body finally relaxing. All the fear, the loneliness, and the weariness of his journey melted away. He felt only warmth, love, and the steady beat of his mother's heart. For a long while they stayed like that, curled together in the sunlight. The garden around them swayed gently in the morning breeze. Birds chirped. The world felt whole again. At last, Milo lifted his head, his eyes bright with curiosity. "Mama," he said softly, "I saw so many things when I was lost. I crossed the dark forest and I followed the shining river. I met a wise owl, a friendly deer, and even a girl who gave me bread. And I found the North Star in the sky. It helped me find the way home." Her mother's eyes shone with pride. "You have been very brave, Milo, braver than I ever imagined. You may be small, but you have the heart of a lion." Milo purred, curling his tail around hers. "I was scared, Mama, but every time I thought of you, I kept going." "That is what love does, little one," her mother said softly. "It gives us courage when we feel weak and light when we feel lost." The day warmed slowly around them. The cottage windows glowed with the sun, and the flowers swayed happily as though welcoming Milo home. He nestled close, his eyelids growing heavy. At last, safe in his mother's embrace, he let his body relax completely. "You're here," he murmured, drifting toward sleep. "I found you." "Yes, my darling," her mother whispered, "and I will always be here. No matter where you go, no matter how far, I will always be waiting for you." Her purr rose softly, a gentle lullaby that vibrated through the garden. Milo's breathing slowed, steady and peaceful. His long journey had ended, and his dreams carried him now into a world of warmth, love, and endless adventures, always with his mother beside him. The garden was quiet, the morning bright, and in that little corner of the world, everything was exactly as it should be. Milo was home.